Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel. I'm Scott.
This is John.
And we are here for another 2,000 point Warhammer Fantasy Battle tonight. So, continuing with our campaign, John has actually bounced into one of his own reserve armies. So, as we've said before, the non-High Elf, Dark Elf armies are, although they might belong to each of us, in terms of the campaign, they are just purely rogue going around. They don't have any particular allegiance or anything like that. So
we've got too many surrounding my area and you try and push it through right, really. Or I'm not going to be able to push it out.
Well, as you may have seen in the previous battle, so Lady Phelan on John's secondary army has been smashed back to their HQ, and after quite a lot of dithering around, we had a few turns of no battles, didn't we? And so she's now just trying to force the main road running south, and there's an Empire army sitting on it, so John kind of needs to smash through in order to open up the middle of the campaign map to the High Elves, because otherwise there's quite a big Dark Elf contingent down in the south that they're going to have to deal with. So I'll be taking on. I'm mostly using John's army tonight. So
cheeky sword, that's not very nice, is that? My Griffin as well. I'm not very happy about that.
A few units I don't usually take, and also it's meant that combined with mine, I've got quite a lot of cavalry, and I love cavalry. So you will see quite a lot of cavalry on the Empire side tonight.
What are we playing then, mate?
We've got 3 objectives. So it's Provisions is the name of the scenario. It's from the Resurrection tournament pack, but basically there's an objective in the middle and there's 2 along the center line that we've both placed that have to be at least 10 away from the center objective. The middle one is worth
400. 2 sides are worth 200, but I think if you hold both of them, it's 500.
That's right, yeah. So potentially 900 points available if you take all 3. So a big one. Obviously, we don't do table quarters, as we always say. If there's other points for grabs, we do get points for general and banners and usual stuff, though. And in this one, so again, for anyone who's been following the campaign, just to remind you, so John's mage and high mage who leads the army have both been injured. So they're not available for this battle, and you can't invest the points in another hero. So it just stops you from just replacing them with something else. So you do get the points. He's not, otherwise you'd be like 600 points down.
Yeah, just a little.
Might not be much point in playing the game. So John's got quite a lot of models on the table as well, which is quite nice because elves do chew up your points, especially with a lot of heroes. So he's stuck with 2 commanders on this one.
I have to do a lot of painting as well to get it ready. I really didn't have enough in my collection.
That's one of the bonuses with these campaigns. They force you to get moving on stuff that's been sat in your pile for a while. Anyway, I will stop chatting and we will show you the armies and then we will roll for first turn and do all that stuff. So see you on the other side. Tonight's battle is happening on the upper south road between Lady Phelan of the High Elves and Lord Johann of the Empire. So we're going to have a look at the armies now. For the Empire tonight, I've taken 8 White Wolves. They're in a circle and they have full command. I've got 8 Reiksguard with full command. They're also in a circle. And then I've got 2 units of 5 Knights of More. So they're just basic knightly orders and not obviously can't be upgraded to inner circle, and they don't have command. Ignore the banners on them. They're just bare bones. Also in core, I've got a unit of huntsmen, so they can scout, and they've got longbows. I've got pistoliers in special, and I've got 20 flagellants in the rare slot. And then for the leaders, we've got Count Johann over here. As John usually has him on a Griffin, I have followed the same course along with his Captain Powell on a Pegasus. I've got 2 mages, 1 on foot. He's taken Heavens and he's rolled Uran and Thunderbolt and Second Sign of Amul. And the one on a horse, he's gone with the Lore of Metal and he's got the Commandment of Brass and the Transmutation of Lead. So that is 2,000 points of Empire ready to try and raid the High Elf lines.
So for the High Elves tonight, we are going to have a very big High Elf army because I'm down 2 characters. So in the core section, we have 5 Silver Helms with a Musician and Champ, 20 spearmen, full command. 10 silver helms, full command. In the special, we have 2 units of Illyrian Reavers. They've got musicians, champs, and bows. And 20 swordmasters. And 2 chariots. And then in the rare slot, we've got the 2 eagles and the 2 bolt throwers. And then the hero, we've got the 2 commanders again. This guy is the one with the -1 weapon skill after he was hurt from the last battle as well. And I haven't rolled for my general, so I'll do that and I'll let you know who it's going to be. But obviously we haven't got any magic, and that is 2,000 points of the High Elves.
So we're all set up. The objectives, as we mentioned, you can see that's the central one. Some supplies over there and some supplies over here. This is how I've deployed, and John is pretty much, just a traditional battle line. So we will roll for first turn. I've got the +1 for finishing first. Roll again. No +1 this time. Ooh. I was just deliberating for about 20 minutes, but I will take the first turn. It's always a risk when there's objectives, because having the last turn does mean you can squeeze around and do some last minute grabbing. But John's got he's got 2 bolt throwers, so there's more shooting than I want pouring into my knights, and I don't have any shooting, so I will go first.
Good luck,
Good luck. Either way, it'll be your armies winning or losing. So really, I'm on.
You can't ever save one with your empire, even if you win the night, can you?
No. But I mean, I broke a first last time and got a win with Dark Elves. So if I can win with John's empire, maybe it's just my empire are bad and I need to rejig the list. I mean, if the huntsmen win me the game, then I can call it. But otherwise, it's all on your guys. All right, guys. Well, I'll come back after my first turn. Turn 1 for Empire was not too bad, but it was pretty obvious there wasn't going to be a massively decisive turn, whoever went first. So I've moved most things up forward. The huntsmen have peeked out of the woods there, and most of my other stuff's come up to threaten. The only thing that didn't move was this matey boy here, just because I didn't want to get shot to pieces, and there wasn't any particularly viable targets to charge first turn. Magic phase, John has very little to stop me, so even though I don't have a massive amount of magic, I still had quite a successful phase. So I got the Commandment of Brass off onto this bolt thrower, so it can't fire this turn. And Uranan's Thunderbolt went off with this guy and did 2 wounds to that chariot. In the shooting phase, this guy's got the Dragon Bow, and he pinged a shot over at the Silver Helms. He did wound, but John saved it on a 5. And the Pistoliers were out of range, so only the marksman, who's got a handgun, so a repeat handgun, was able to shoot, and he did 2 wounds to the eagle. And then these guys here did 2 wounds to the Reavers, so not bad at all, but nothing massively decisive. So over to John for his first turn.
Fairly happy with that. So the movement, this side is just all sort of flanked round. The spearmen have come up onto the hill. These Silver Helms only move their 9 because this guy's got the Reaver bow. The Reavers did move their max round here, and the Eagles flew up behind them. These Silver Helms have just wheeled to there to give the bolt thrower a bit more line of sight. The Chariot shifted back. Swordsmasters did charge the Huntsman, and they opted to flee, obviously. So they fled to there, but it's going to be a panic check for his wizard, and they're annoying those huntsmen. So I'm quite glad just to get them running. They won't be able to shoot me next turn, even if they rally. So the Swordsmasters ended up there. This chariot just come round to here. This eagle march blocks the Pistoliers. Ideally, I wanted to shoot the Pistoliers with this bolt thrower, but because the Swordmasters moved up to there, I couldn't. These Reavers come there to hopefully shoot the Pistoliers with the bolt thrower, but after thinking about it, I didn't want to shell any models off because they might be able to flank my Swordmasters in, which wouldn't be very good. So the shooting phase then ended up, these shot these knights. I did do 2 wounds, but Scott saved both of them. This chariot over here did kill a knight over here. This bolt thrower did manage to kill 2 Knights of the White Wolf, which was dead handy. This one couldn't shoot because of Scott's Lore of Metal they had on him. This guy just carried on his disastrous game from last game and had 3 shots with the Reaver bow and never hit with any of them into the White Wolves. And these Reavers did do a wound and you saved it?
No,
They did not wound either.
They did. They rolled a load of 3s.
Yeah, they hit, but then they never wounded. So that was all it was in the end. Managed to kill 3 Knights, which is all right when this mainly a Cav army. So that was turn 1 High Elves. I think Scott might have a few charges to do, and he's got a few panics and rallies to do as well.
Empire turn 2, not a bad one. Everything sort of shuffled forward. These knights charged the bolt thrower on the hill, and they've opted to flee. So I'm now a bit out in the open there. Everything else just kind of shuffled. I didn't want to risk a charge on the Swordmasters. These are, bear in mind, unupgraded knights, so I didn't fancy their chances as much. I could have got the electric count in as well, but I just thought I would wait a little bit before I start going throwing into random combats, just because I've had one bad lot of shooting. It shouldn't be the end of the world. Annoyingly, this guy did flee because they were running, but then they rallied. In the magic phase, I used the silver horn and rallied him. Might be a bit of a waste, but I don't want my wizard running off, and it was a bit in debate of whether or not that eagle would be able to see me, so I didn't want to get run off the board too quickly. And what else did I get? I got the Commandment of Brass again, this time on this chariot, so he can't move this turn. So hopefully that will spare some damage to my knights over there. But yeah, other than that, fairly uneventful. This guy landed a hit, landed a wound, but once again, John's armor is bouncing off shots from the dragon bow, even though it's strength 6. Like they must be some kind of special Ithilmar on those ones. And
like the Swordmasters last game.
Yeah, what was it? Shrugged off something like 17 odd wounds that I nearly did to you. The Pistoliers did an awful round of shooting against the Reavers that were by the tower, but thankfully the one wound that I did do with the handgun caused them to panic and flee off the board. So it wasn't a complete bust, but it was, for a moment, starting to annoy me there. But they've obviously got more loyalty to John than I would like. But anyway, it's all still in the balance. There's a lot of stuff moving into the centre now, so let's see what John does with his turn 2. He's a happy man after that turn.
Well, my chariot teared off. Don't sound too happy. Right, so 2 terror checks. Luckily, they were both in range of my general, but they failed. So they've ran to there. Swordmasters did pass. Charge is declared. The Swordmasters can still see the huntsman in the woods, so they charge them. Spearmen charge the small block of knights there. These silver helms charged the big block of inner circle knights, and the Reavers flanked the big block of inner circle knights. That was all the charges. Scott fled with the huntsman, and he fled with the knights over there. So the spearmen ended up there. Swordmasters are just stuck in the wood a little bit. And he obviously took the charge with the inner circle knights. He wasn't going to be running them with the Reavers only an inch away. Remaining moves, Chariot couldn't move. These guys did rally. Chariot couldn't move because of Scott's magic. Does that go away now? We take it now he's dead?
I think it's only for one turn anyway. Yeah,
fair enough. These reformed just because they got a griffin staring them down. Eagle come over here to march block the Pistoliers. Again, I don't want my Swordmasters charged in the rear and charged by knights. And then this eagle come here because I'm hopefully predicting there's going to be a few Planikins or stuff still fleeing. So he's hopefully going to come and mop some scraps up for me. Shooting, not a lot could shoot. No, it was just his one bolt thrower. I single shotted the Griffin again. I thought I was well within 24, which he was, so I was hitting on 2s. I rolled, I hit the Griffin, and I wounded, and I done 2 wounds to him. So he's down to 2, and then in the combats, it was only the one over here, because the Carried the Empire fled, all the rest. I done 4 wounds between everything, killed the wizard, and I thought you were going to have the speculum on the wizard, to be honest. That's what the challenge of my champion. The challenge of the commander, otherwise. But Scott done nothing back. He lost by 5 because of flanked, outnumbered, and the 4 kills. Scott did have a banner, and he broke, and we run them down. These knights just hit into those knights, so they've caused them to flee again, and that's how it all lies. So a very good turn 2 for the elves. Let's see what Scott can conjure up on his turn 3.
Empire turn 3. Average turn. I'm telling myself that it's all coming together, but my right flank collapsing has made things harder for me. So unfortunately, this guy panicked again. He's in a real panicky mood today, and these guys kept fleeing. The knights that were here fled off the board. Those knights ran down the chariot that was already fleeing in front of them, and the captain charged this chariot, which chose to flee, but not very far. And the griffin ran into the silver helms over here. On this side, no one's blinked yet. I still just gradually backing off, trying to draw those swords masters forward a little bit. And the flagellants have moved up to take the central objective. Hopefully they should be able to sit on that forever and ever if all goes well. And magic, didn't have any because I was fleeing, despite did try to finagle John to let me use a bound item in the magic phase, but
and
he
did use it last magic phase as well, so you should feel ashamed of yourself.
Oh yeah, that's good point. Yeah, I fucking forgot. I didn't say
Do
that.
you? Do you feel ashamed,
of myself?
Right.
So yeah, old Gandalf there is on the run, rightfully so.
He's cheating with my own models. I can't believe it.
That's not cheating when he's doing this.
He was all well for it until I said, "That's fine. I'll use Fury of Cain when I'm fleeing next time." He said, "Oh yeah, we better not play that."
Yeah, it's a crap item in that way, though. It's like because if it's just to keep.
I suppose you put on someone else, don't you?
The Pistoliers shot to death the eagle that was behind them. I made a big show about how it was a waste of shots because they were going to do it, and only one actually hit him. So thankfully they did get the wound I needed, but it almost didn't work even on that level. But yeah, the combat went okay. It was a bit of a clutch. I was sort of hoping that there would be a way that the White Walls would overrun into the Silver Helms. But I did need that chariot gone, so I opted to go for that instead and let the Silver Helms take the charge from the Griffin. He called a challenge because the Electrocount has got the Rune Fang, so I was confident I'd kill whoever I was fighting. And I did 3 wounds, so I lost by 1, but I have stuck around, which is what I wanted. And John's got some things to think about in his turn now, and a few big rallies. So on to John's turn 3. Turn 4, High Elves. Oh yeah, sorry, turn 3, High Elves.
We can do 4 actually. I prefer that.
How's it looking?
Charge, yeah. So the eagle was just in arc of the huntsman, so he charged them. The sword masters, it was just basically see if Scott flinched. I charged the Empire Knights there, and then the spearmen charged the flagellants. So the spearmen were easily in, and they were in the flank. The eagle, Scott did not outpace him, so he's killed all the huntsmen, and he's landed there. The chariot did rally.
And you passed your panic on the
and I passed the panic on the bolt thrower from the chariot, which was handy. So that was that. In the shooting phase, I opted to do the 6 shots this time, and I killed 1 more White Wolf. So that was them. That was 1 more of them gone. These boys absolutely murdered his wizard, even though I was hitting on 5s.
I think she's got 5 hits, 5 wounds, wasn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely murdered
They
him.
really didn't like that wizard anyway. So they killed him, and then in the combats, I killed 3 flagellants. They killed 2 back, and obviously tied. Blah blah blah. This one, I challenged with my commander this time. All he's got was a lance. Obviously I went first. I put all my attacks into the Griffin. I did manage to wound him. I did hit him 3 times. Annoyingly, I only done 1 wound. And then Scott with the Rune Fang done 3 back to my commander and killed him for 3. Scott lost by 1 again, but he's passed. And I've remembered to lap round this time. Try and give myself a bit more res to try and keep my boys, or keep his Griffin, out of the fight as much as possible. So that is how we are. Turn 3 for the High Elves. On to you again, my friend.
turn 4 for the Empire, and other than one little boo-boo on my part, it's all gone fairly well. So the White Wolves charged the bolt thrower that was over there. The captain charged the chariot, and the Pistoliers joined the fight with the Griffin and charged the Silver Helms in the middle. The screw up on my part was I should have charged these because there's not really any. I thought I could wheel past the Swordmasters. Having looked at it, I couldn't. Well, I could, but it didn't get me far enough out of their arc to stop them from charging me again. And I probably would have fled off the board, especially with that eagle looking at me. I didn't fancy going for it. So now I'm just about to get probably a bit of a kicking, if I'm honest. But it all went fairly well over here, despite not really contributing to the fight. The Pistoliers didn't need to, because once again the electric. I think he's had 3 wounds every round now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been successful. He was good for me last game.
Yeah,
not letting you use him again.
Yeah, the Bretonians. Yeah, that's why I took him. So John has used him to great effect against me in the previous games. So I've copied pretty much his build entirely, and he's done me very well. So the Silver Helms got annihilated. The bolt thrower got destroyed there, which you'd expect, and the White Wolves overran. The captain did a lovely 3 wounds as well to the chariot, but it held and did a wound back. And then that's where things got annoying, because he had 3 break tests to make. So 1 at leadership 6 and 2 at leadership 8. And as you can see, he's passed every single one of them. So despite being overwhelmed, this chariot is holding his nerve. And then the combat over here, the spearman did 4 wounds, so I didn't get any attacks back. Obviously, I'm unbreakable, so I'm just going to hover around in that fight, though. So still all to play for by the looks of it. And John's turn 4, and he's got a nice big terror check to do on the spearman. Do you want to do that on camera?
Not really.
Oh, dear.
That way?
Yep.
7.
Oh, is that nicely just in front of the Silver Helms? Yes, it is. Oh. It's gone a bit worse then. All right, well, come back after the turn is finished. Turn 4, High Elves all done, John?
It was nearly so perfect, Scott, as well.
Oh.
Nearly was. After blocking Scott over here, obviously couldn't get out of the way, so I double charged him with the Eagle and the Swordmasters. And that was all the charges. There was a big terror check from my Spearman, and they were scaredy cats. So they ran off over there, annoyingly, for me. The remaining moves were these reman the bolt thrower. These guys just done a slight wheel, and then the Reavers come up to here. In the shooting, this is where, again, you over here.
Doesn't like this guy today.
No, yeah, I didn't like him last time either. He had 3 shots on the Reaver bow. I just wanted to kill the Griffin and get the electric count on foot. Obviously hitting on 2s, hit with all 3. Got all 3 onto the Griffin as well, so he needed 1-4 to kill the Griffin, and he never rolled 1-4. So that thing's still alive. Even though it can't see me, it's going to end up causing terrors, which is very problematic at the minute, looking at the Spearman. So that is that. The Reavers ripped 1 shot into the managed to kill 1 Pistolier, ripping their shots into him. I was going to go for the Griffin again, but wounding on 6s, I thought against it. But I did manage to kill 1 Pistolier there. In the combats, I did manage to do 1 wound to the Pegasus again, but before my horses had a chance to attack him, my Pegasus kicked my chariot to death. So that was how that went. Obviously, Scott's got to stay there. And in this one, well, this guy doing himself proud. He'd actually killed a knight. These hit 4 times, and then I rolled 3 1s and a 2, but they did manage to kill 1 knight. And then Scott went, no, you done 1 wound to me, and I saved it. I tested restrain these guys, which they did, and the Eagle ran the knights down, and he ran a ridiculous mile off the table. So, pretty good turn. I'm not going to complain too much. Reaver bow. But on to you, my friend.
Turn 5. Short and sweet, turn 5. I basically reformed the flagellants on the spot. White Wolves have come back on. Pistolier's moved up. He's flown over here to try and maximise the amount of terrors that are going to happen. and he's hiding behind the hill. In the shooting phase, the Pistoliers killed 1, and that was it. So on to John's turn 5.
You would have thought I'd been happy killing your General Scott, but no. Alas, I'm not, because there's still a scary Griffin on the table, turn 6. But other than that, everything else went as to plan. We passed all our terror checks from him, and we passed our big rally there, which was good. The rest of the movement, the Eagle come up to there. Swordmaster's obviously claiming that one. This guy hopped out of the unit and kept line of sight with the Reaver bow. These guys here just shuffled back, turned and shuffled again. So that was them there. And then the Reavers moved. They were march blocks. They just come up 9 into here. Obviously no magic. Shooting. Again with the Reaver bow. He only had 2 hits this time. 1 on the General, 1 on the Griffin. And I wounded the General. Didn't wound the Griffin, annoyingly. So I shot the bolt thrower at him. I done 4 hits. 2 on the General, 2 on the Griffin. I killed the General and then failed to wound the Griffin. And then I was half tempted to shoot these guys into him. I'm glad I never know, to be honest, even though they done absolutely nothing. So these 4 that could see the Pistoliers shot the Pistoliers. They done nothing, never even hit. And then because he was a lone man, couldn't see him, he shot at the Griffin and didn't hit. So that was High Elf turn 5. On to Empire turn 6 is still very much in the balance, I think.
Alright, I've done all I can in my last turn, so there's a few crucial ones there. The Griffin, without his rider, wasn't going to break the Spearman's rank, so he opted to go after the Reavers, who've kindly obliged me and left the battlefield. The White Wolves went for the bolt thrower, and as you can see, they have smashed it up. They only actually killed 1, and they barely won and barely caught it. So it was a bit of a clutch there, but they've done fine. This guy's moved up here to shield that objective, and I didn't want to risk a charge with the Flagellants because then I'd be probably just within the objective zone, but if John killed just a couple of my guys in the next 2 turns of combat, then I'd be in big trouble. So I've opted just to hold there, and unless John completely wipes the unit out, I don't think he's going to be getting that one. Pistoliers charged the Silver Helms, and as you can see, they've beautifully killed 2 of them and made them flee. And the only other thing that happened was in the shooting phase, we would keep laughing because we both got magic bows and they've both been absolutely abysmal. So I fired my dragon bow, needed 2s to hit, and of course I've missed. So wasn't going to kill him anyway because it only does 1 wound, but just shows that was a pointless item for the game, unfortunately. But yeah, John's got quite a few things to think about in his last turn because we are still close. It's hard to see who has won this one. Over to you, John. Oh, it was a bit of a
last hurrah.
Yeah.
And there was an anti-climax in the end as well, but all 3 obviously charged into here. I needed to try and claim this objective here. There was no other way around it. So we done that, and as you can see, I obviously ain't killed enough. Rallies, my Silver Helms did rally, so that was good. That saved me a few points.
When we're this close, that might make all the difference.
Yeah. And so there was no shooting because of that. Straight onto the combats. Basically, I just didn't kill enough. I think Eagle killed 1, he killed 1, and even though they rolled a ridiculous amount of hits, they only killed 2. Didn't really matter what Scott killed, but he did kill 3. Obviously, he was big enough to hold the objective. So, good game, sir. Well
good
played.
game.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a draw. I don't think it's going to be a big enough swing either way, do you?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out whether or not I might just if I haven't lost my General, I think I'd be edging it.
Griffin's under half.
Yeah,
General.
I think you've got more intact stuff than me, but
you are going to be 400 points up on the objective.
We'll see. All right, we'll come back when we've tallied it up in a minute. And that is Everything totaled up, John. You can give the scores as usual.
So it was very tight again, as it always is. You had a lot of bonus points a day. So for the objectives, you got 600, 400 for the middle, 200 for the side, and then you had one banner and my general. So you had 800 plus, and then with what you killed, you got a mighty 1753. Mine was a little bit less. So I never got the banner on your Inner Circle Knights because those Cowardly Silverhelms dropped it from a few Pistoliers. But I did get one side and I got your general. So with my 300, I ended up with 1559. So a solid draw.
Nice one. That was a fun game.
That was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, there was several points, I think, with both of us. I think early game, I was thinking, this has all gone wrong for me.
Then I that big block of Inner Circle Knights.
Yeah,
so when that goes down, it's a little bit...
Especially because that just completely opened that flank. And then I think on the other hand, then once the Griffin combat went my way, I think 2 turns in a row he held out before he got some reinforcements. So that was nice.
That Griffin was amazing again.
Yeah, I think he's underrated as a character.
Up so much damage. Literally, all right, my rolls weren't great, but I shot everything at him, never killed him. Terrored units that helped you, held the middle. And then, like I said, wiped out, well over his points worth as well.
Yeah, I think he's an underrated character, to be honest, especially with the Rune Fang. It's one of those items, I've got to be honest, because I usually take my Electors on foot, and I've always thought it's a bit overpriced, never going to do enough to make it worth taking. But when you've got him on a flying monster and you can pretty much direct where he lands, you always want to make sure he's hitting stuff that relies on.
You're thinking 3 attacks, like that, but because he's not going to be chewing through big blocks of infantry, you want him hitting stuff like Cav and stuff. Yeah, you want him hitting stuff like Cav and that anyway, where the static res ain't great, and he can hopefully butcher through them. But
especially you got the Griffin backing you up, doing a bit more, so you can hope to do about 3 wounds. So against small units of knights, he should be able to do it. And it's the main thing of the threat of having him in your back zone when he can get rid of your ranks and everything. He's just a nasty one. So still comes in under 400 points. I think he's a pretty solid Lord choice, to be honest.
And like I said, Empire's quick enough. You can give him lots of support as well normally.
Yeah.
Or get multiple charges with him, and then obviously he's even tastier then. But no, that was. I thought it was going to be a draw at the end. Did you?
Yeah, I was looking at it thinking I think them rallying, because it still would have been a draw, but if they hadn't, I was thinking maybe. I knew you'd killed enough of my flagellants to get the...
I think if I'd have taken... What did I need? I think if I'd have taken that other rank out, I'd have probably got it.
Yeah.
So I needed another 4 more kills.
You did do quite a few kills even with what you did though, so I think...
4 with all those attacks?
Yeah, I think that's about average with your lower strength.
Yeah, I suppose.
But no, that was a good one. I think the Spearman cost you that by fleeing the first time around. If they held their nerve...
Yeah,
from the
because
terror.
Your Griffin wasn't facing them or anything
like
that.
And I would have been
able to hit them, yeah.
Because the thing is, even if that hadn't have happened, I would have probably been able to kill him eventually, but you'd have got the objective by then, and so the points would have cancelled out.
Or the flagellants would have been dead, so I could have sneaked the objective at the end, even if you would have killed the Spearman. But
that's why I didn't get my captain stuck in, just because I thought it only takes your surviving guy to run over there and grab it. So I thought, with me standing in front, it's like if you run at me, I've got a higher unit strength. So then and if you stand still to shoot at me, then you can't come and claim the objective. So that was the logic there. But
the idea was, if I'd have killed the Griffin early enough, which, like I said, he was, my obviously bloke was going to go over there and then just try and Reaver Bow your Pegasus, and then obviously my bloke would have been unit strength 2 to your 1.
That's true.
So he would have sneaked that objective. That was the whole idea, but that Griffin just wouldn't die.
That Reaver Bows let you down.
Yeah, he was terrible, that commander. Even that last combat, he only killed 1 flagellant.
I just forgot we got two injury rolls because the Elector count has died, and he's a Lord.
Selby.
So he does get one. You might kill him, and then that's
you need one for your Bretonian Lord as well.
I remember that last time. Yeah, we can do that now as well, because if you killed him, then they're gone. We have to replace them.
Do you want to show the map quickly?
Yeah, we will. So, up here, so what we've decided is if a main army draws against a roaming army, just because the roaming army doesn't have a province to go back into, they both just stay on the place that they've gone to, except the attacking player doesn't claim the objective. So John is in the zone, but he'd have to stay there for another turn without fighting. Well, no, you have to move on, don't we?
Yeah, you know, you have to move on.
So you've got to move on, but you can always come back and claim it later. But so he will move as he wants to. It might be that the Empire might randomly smash into him again. You've got the Bretonians right next to them on the side as well.
Or if you get a favourable roll, you can move them into them again.
That is true. So it could all go wrong for John up here. We will see. We've mentioned that the next battle is going to be down here between our two main lords. John's got the roll off, so he's pushing into my zone. But we're going to do these injury rolls now before we pack up and I get driving home.
Do you, Hans?
So that's the list. So one's the bad one, that means he's dead, and then all the other ones have got some kind of problem.
You can never kill Johann Salvi.
3. Loses 1 weapon skill. That's not too bad.
Right, this commander this time. He's dead.
Oh.
You can replace with another hero.
Right. Cool. So it probably won't make too much odds, really. But
put another mage in there now to get real spice it right.
You wanted that one to be dead because he's the one you.
Yeah, he's the one that keeps letting me down.
I'll do old Gilliam for the Bretonians. 2.
Oh, your lord for the hair. Bratz can't be.
He's got to miss the next battle. Got to make up those points now.
You better get painting.
Right. Thank you for watching. This has been Scott and John for the Mercenary Miniature Painter. I hope you've enjoyed. And as we've said, there's plenty of battles to come. So please tune in, like, subscribe, all the rest of it. And see you later.